Alrighty, guys, thank you for that. We'll talk to you one more time before we're done here on your Wednesday. Right now, we're going to welcome in our next live guest. We've got our editorial director, Rachel Premack, joining us to continue this conversation about Yellow. Rachel, thank you for being here this morning. We've got some more developments, but it seems like Yellow isn't necessarily out of the woods yet, right? They've just kind of pushed the problem a little bit down the road. What's going on?
No, absolutely not. So what's going on right now, Yellow sent out a memo to all of its employees yesterday afternoon around 4:30 p.m. saying that the company actually would need to limit pickups nationwide as they start to, grapple with and start to sort of readjust their network following the threat of a strike that came out last Monday. So that's what the company is saying, that they're limiting pickups nationwide. Some folks in areas including Ohio and Texas and California, they've told me that actually their terminals are stopping all pickups. And I've also heard from some account executives in the Northeast also confirming that in their regions, all pickups are not just limited, but actually completely halted.
And it seems like an interesting situation. You got the extension for the healthcare stuff that was passed over the weekend, and then at the same time, you would assume that you'd want to continue getting volume shipments to stay in business, but now on the ground facts are we're stopping it. Does this mean that Yellow thinks their time is up and they're looking like at an orderly drawdown? I've never seen a company that's paid on hauling things decide to not haul anything.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, that's definitely one sort of theory or one sort of rumor that's going around among employees. It's really not clear for now what exactly is going on. It's certainly a situation that's changing day by day. Account executives actually told me that on Monday that they were on a company-wide call with their chief commercial officer, who told them, "Yeah, we're back to normal. We are, business as usual. Tell your customers, that we're everything's back to normal," only for one day later for some of those same account executives to be told, stop pickups, don't do anything else. So it's certainly a situation that is changing quite a bit day to day.
So as of yesterday, the Teamsters sent out a memo to their local group saying, hey, you know what? We demanded of Yellow to go back to that $11 per hour wage increase from the baseline, as well as increasing the benefits. Yellow is saying, you know what? We don't actually know if that's feasible to make that happen. Teamsters President Sean O'Brien basically saying, make it happen or that's that. We're done, right? How does this new development now shake out for Yellow? Are we looking at them maybe wanting to kind of wrap down and wind down and make it look like it's happening on their own terms, and that's why Yellow is trying to drag this out?
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of dynamic what's happening right now between Teamsters and Yellow, because previously what we had been seeing over the past however many months, let's say since March or April of this year, it seemed that Teamsters was playing really hardball. They were saying, we're going to do it this way. We're not going to negotiate with you. We're going to, make it clear that this is what we want to do and what's best for our members. That kind of changed a little bit last week when Teamsters said that they had personally pressured Central State Pensions leadership to, give Yellow this 30-day extension. It seemed like, Teamsters was a little bit interested in helping out Yellow at least somewhat during this process. And now it kind of seems like they are switching back and saying, nope, we are pushing hard on you guys. We want to make this change. So it's, as we've been discussing, it's just been a really day by day. It seems like things are changing, certainly day by day. Yellow says that what they want is to make this change of operations, that they really want to meet with Teamsters to make it happen. And it's interesting to see how Teamsters is responding to this request for sure.
And looking at the structure of Yellow itself, one thing when I was doing some research, it's an amalgamation of carriers that were bought. It's kind of like this Russian nesting doll almost. Would there be a situation that maybe the Teamsters are thinking, well, if maybe Yellow's not looking at it, I got in my back pocket, I'm just going to split them all up, and the ones that are good enough to survive, they're just going to be like a regional carrier now?
I mean, that is how those companies were organized prior to, the early 2000s, and even more recently until Yellow started more aggressively to try to integrate all of those networks. I'm not quite sure how that would work if they were to unbundle these carriers. I think especially on the West Coast, it's the former Redaway carrier is now pretty closely integrated with Yellow. Holland and New Penn are still somewhat not fully integrated with Yellow, so it's unclear how exactly that would work. But that could be something that Teamsters is considering, or that the lenders to Yellow are also considering.
And of course, we have to talk about the people that these entire decisions impact the most. That's the drivers and the employees of Yellow who are sat here and just kind of waiting to see what happens. They're going to end up ultimately getting the short end of the stick no matter what happens, right? When you're looking at the opportunities that drivers or employees are looking for right now, are people just kind of sitting and waiting to see what happens out of Yellow? Has there been any sort of mass exodus yet? Or are people just kind of saying, okay, we're just going to hang out until we're not needed here anymore?
It's a bit of both. I've spoken to folks at terminals who say, yeah, people have been leaving in the last few months. People are kind of fed up with this. Others, they've already put in their seniority. They have their time at Yellow. They are hoping for some sort of resolution. It certainly differs person to person and terminal to terminal, kind of how the, what the aura, I guess, of each and the atmosphere of each terminal for sure. I think there are some folks who are hoping for that things work out, that Yellow manages to get some sort of raise in, that the pension fund is secure and the health benefits are secure. But the number of those people who are feeling particularly positive, that does seem to be winding down, and folks who do have a little bit more who are a bit more hesitant, a little bit more skeptical or negative, their ranks do seem to be increasing.
And looking forward, got about a minute left here. Potential good negotiation, obviously, from the Teamsters' part, pushing it to the edge, playing hardball. But at the same time, are there any downsides? Because it looks increasingly possible that Yellow goes out of business. You lose 30,000 approximately unionized jobs. Would this potentially be a Pyrrhic victory for the Teamsters? You win one thing with UPS, but you also lose with Yellow. How do you convince an Amazon to give you a shot when a large portion of their union membership now just went kaput?
Yeah, so it's 22,000 Teamsters members with Yellow. The company overall has about 30,000 employees. And it is interesting to see, how that could all play out, because UPS is certainly the bigger name. Just the general public has been following the UPS negotiations, a little bit more closely, just because they're wondering, where are my Amazon packages going to, show up come August 1st. But with Yellow, there hasn't quite been that same sort of intense nationwide sort of focus. But I certainly agree with you that it could be sort of a Pyrrhic victory if Teamsters does manage, as they did yesterday, to avoid, a UPS strike, but still get sort of those wins they were looking for. If, on the other hand, Yellow does end up, having to shut down or declare bankruptcy, as a result of all of these sort of developments over the past 15 years or so, that has brought it to its current financial status.
Reminds me of the old Southern saying for Yellow, that dog won't hunt. So we'll be keeping an eye on that for sure. Rachel, thank you so much. We're looking forward to watching these developments.
Thank you.
That's going to be a wrap for this segment, but we're going to toss it over to Kaylee Nix for our look at the weather.